Hey guys, this is Chris and welcome back to another edition of Hacking IELTS. In this episode, we're going to be talking with J.R. Lee here in Dubai, and we're going to see how he handled the listening section of the IELTS exam. Let's see what tips he can pass on to you guys. First of all, let's just start with a little bit about who you are, where you're from.
First of all, thank you, Chris, for inviting me here.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, this is quite an amazing studio that you have here. So, I'm JR. I've been here in Dubai for the past 10 years. And I'm from the Philippines, part of Asia. And my profession is I'm an accountant. So I took inspiration from my parents, specifically my mother, because she's an accountant as well. So growing up, she would bring me to her office, and that gave me the idea that, I would like to have that same job, just like what my mom was doing back then.
So tell me, when did you go and actually take the IELTS exam?
Yes, I think this was about 2 weeks ago. So, if I remember correctly, we first took the reading test. It's on a separate week, Friday. And then the week after that, we took the listening, the reading, and writing tests of IELTS.
All right, so you took the speaking exam 1 week earlier?
Yes, 1 week earlier. So, we took that on a Friday weekend. So, I was hoping that it would be on the same day, but I think that's how it works. I really don't know.
Like
I'm not
here
aware.
in Dubai, I believe that a lot of the time the tests are conducted so everything is all in one day. Ideally, it should all be on like
All
one
in
day
one
on
day.
a Saturday.
Mhm.
But sometimes, just to make it convenient for the IELTS examiners and the candidates,
Yes.
they'll have the speaking exam on a Friday.
Yes.
So that just makes it a little bit easier. So it's not a very long day,
Yes.
but it's either way works, right? I know some candidates have actually had the speaking exam after doing the first part.
The first part.
Yeah.
The 3 exams, the 3 tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it takes quite a while, but
Mhm.
then you're done everything.
Yes.
And then it took you about 2 weeks to get all of your scores. Is that correct?
Yes, it took us 2 weeks, and that 2 weeks of waiting was me and my wife, because me and my wife took the exam. We're always excited to keep on checking our emails, but what happened was that the results was texted to us. It's on a text message.
Okay.
Because I was checking my email almost every day. I mean, leading to the long wait, 2 weeks, but it was texted to us through a text message.
All right. And then with regards to the exam, as you probably know, there are two different streams. So there's
Yes.
the general and there's the academic. So which version did you take of the exam?
Yes, good question. So we took the general exam, basically because we are planning to migrate, and then I guess that is the basic requirement in order for us to meet the requirements. So we took the general exam of
Great.
IELTS. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the exam itself. So let's talk now about the listening section. So tell me, what was your experience with this component?
Okay, what helped me is that I know that you have your Hacking IELTS podcast and video. It was a really huge help for me. And then what I did to prepare for the listening exam is that you just have to be attentive, and you have to really understand what is being asked. Okay, so I did several practice tests because there's a lot of materials online,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
We've actually enrolled ourselves into like a 1 month IELTS examination. It's like a mock test.
Okay.
So we did that.
How was this? Like, was it online or is it actually you go somewhere physically?
We go somewhere physically. It's like a classroom setting where there's one instructor, teacher, and then he would hand over several notes. So I think it lasted for about a month. So it covered all the sections of the IELTS. Okay. And then, um, what can I say about the listening test? This is what I do. During the examination day, they will give you two papers. One would be the questionnaire, and one would be like where you can write your answers. And then eventually, you are given the time to transfer it to the other paper, right? Um, Listening test, what I did basically was to, as soon as I hear certain words, I write it down. I don't immediately answer the questions. So basically, that's my personal technique.
Okay.
That's what I did.
So, a question: when you're getting prepared and
Mhm.
you're actually attending these practice sessions,
Mhm.
were you hearing the audio in a room like over speakers, or were you guys actually given headphones so you could listen independently?
There's a speaker. There were speakers. So this is kind of challenging. So
Yes.
it's a good thing that you pointed that out
Mhm.
because what usually happens is that the sound system isn't that great.
True.
So it's a
Mhm.
huge challenge already. Okay, so the room is totally silent. But say, for example, the speaker is in front of the classroom and you are seated somewhere at the back.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard for you to actually listen clearly to the sound.
Right. And you're going to get echo in the room.
Yes,
And then, like, the quality of the audio might be good, but the room itself
exactly.
isn't so great. And then the speakers that they use.
Yes.
So I can guarantee you, if you're practicing using headphones,
Hmm.
that it's going to be a world of difference.
I know.
I
I
notice
know.
with my students when they're using headphones,
Hmm.
it's amazing the
Hmm.
difference that we can have.
That's why on the examination or testing day itself, I was really surprised and I was happy to see that we were given separate headphones because I was
Right.
expecting that there will be speakers inside the room, but I guess really like what you said,
So, how did you feel once you got the headphones and you could hear section one?
as soon as they give you these headphones, they test it before even beginning the exam.
Okay.
So for us to be able to hear everything in sync. So you'd be able to adjust the volume as well. And from there, I gain confidence because I can hear clearly what is being said during the listening exam.
Great. So, one of the questions I wanted to ask you was when you actually heard the audio,
Hmm.
you'll hear different dialogues. You hear like a monologue, you hear dialogue.
Yes,
Did
yes.
you hear different accents in particular, and did any of them cause a problem for you?
Um, Mostly British accents.
Okay.
Okay, so they pronounce words. Obviously, I'm from Asia, so the way we pronounce words is totally different, right? But one thing interesting about the listening test is that even before starting the exam,
Yeah.
the audio would give you an instruction that you can actually look at the questions for about 1 minute.
Their cues,
The
like
cues.
directions, instructions.
Yes. So from there,
Yes.
you'll be able to scan the questions, and then you'll already have in mind what would be the answer.
So you can sort of predict.
I can almost predict, but it's kind of tricky. You have to remember that because, like, the first question is about the time. Okay, it's a monologue between two persons, and
Right.
then initially he said 7 o'clock. Say for example 7 o'clock, and then later on during their conversation, she changed it to 11:11. The
Right.
timing.
Sometimes they want to trick you,
It's a trick
right?
question,
So
right?
you hear a time and you're like,
Yes.
oh yeah, this is the number.
This is the
I'm going to
number.
write
I'm
it
gonna write it
down.
down.
And then they make a
They
change
make a change.
in the
So you have to
script.
be really quick with that because what happens is that the next series of answers during the monologue, you need to be able to pick that up as well. So that is what I was explaining earlier when I was trying to write my answers as soon as I hear it. All right, because it's a trick question. If you wrote 7 o'clock, you'll be totally wrong. So 11 o'clock was the right answer. That's what I remember.
Yeah, so we have to be careful that you're not just going for the first number that they throw out
Yes,
there.
yes, yes,
Great strategy for that.
yes.
Once again, regarding accents, so you heard British accents, any other like North American or Australian?
I think um, British accent and Australian accent. Those two. But during my review and some online materials that I use, it's mostly American accents, which is kind of easier for me to understand. So for me, it's pretty straightforward because if I'm gonna rewind it back when we were in grade school, high school in the Philippines,
Yeah.
this is what we are taught,
Okay.
American accent.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
during the exam itself, of course, you have to, I mean, understand the British and Australian accent.
I've had that problem with some of my students in the past. And then, as you know, like English dialects, it's regional.
Mhm.
So depending on what you're hearing, some of those accents can be very difficult as well.
It is going to be very difficult.
So what would you recommend in that situation for people to prepare? What could someone do to be better prepared for that, for the exam?
I think what would help an individual prepare for these kinds of exams, especially the listening exam, is that you really need to take time to practice. I know it will take a lot of your time to keep on listening, but there are a lot of materials, and obviously they can use your material with what you currently have right now and what's on the internet. That's what I'm seeing.
With regards to the accents in particular,
Mhm.
what might be a good strategy is to try to find some podcasts or
Podcast,
maybe
yes.
some listening exams where they're conducted in Australian or the
Yes.
British accent,
Yes.
just so they're geting more familiar with that
Exactly.
type of accent. And movies will help, TV will help.
The listening test happens just like that. It's over until you know it, and then you'll be surprised that you are given instruction that now is the time to move your answers to the other paper. Okay,
Right.
and if you're not prepared for that, then you might end up not getting the desired score.
And there's no replay.
There's no replay button. So practice, practice, practice is really important. And like you said, movies and listening to podcasts. I think that will be a huge help.
Yeah, movies in particular will be great because depending on the genre, the style of movie that you're interested in,
Yes.
then you could be like, well, I'm going to watch my favorite movie, 10 times.
Yeah.
And I have people who did that in
Really?
the past.
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
used to teach in Korea and I had one of my students and he was almost fluent. I'm like, man, like, how did you get so great in understanding
Yes.
English accents or American accents? Like, I
Yes.
watched tons of movies and I watched them over and over again.
Yes.
So he'll know like all of the expressions and catchphrases from different movies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that would be useful as well.
Well, I hope that you guys found this helpful. In our next episode, we're going to be talking once again with J.R. Lee and see how he handled the reading section of the IELTS exam. Don't forget to visit our courses online at hackingielts.com. We also have our exam guide available on Amazon and Apple Books. Take care, guys, and catch you in the next one.